Cody in the morning. WSM. This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
And this morning, minus Kelly Sutton, she'll be back tomorrow. Charlie Matos is here. Look at that, ladies. All that Portuguese goodness. Look at that. David Reed's our studio director. Great to have him aboard. He's filling in for Annie Nye this week. Master Control, rock solid Jeff Roberts is up there. And Jeff Allen is back on the Assembly Food Hall stage here in just a little bit. Saturday night, he's at the Grand Ole Opry. And when he was last here, we were talking about his book. We're not there yet. Mm-hmm. Well, the current tour is called The Human Condition. We're still not there yet.
No, apparently it's an ongoing process. Yeah.
And he's got a connection to Cody Johnson. We were talking about Cody in prime time with Ashley McBride co-hosting tonight on ABC, and then tomorrow, 7 o'clock Central, and then tomorrow you can watch it on Hulu.
Yeah, got a busy weekend. Opry on Saturday, and then doing a great event at Zany's on Sunday, Comedy for a Cause. So we'll tell you more about that as well.
Jeff Allen here in just a little while. But Ashley McBride, speaking of Ashley and Cody, we're going back to the stage of the Grand Ole Opry here in a little bit for the 6th of October.
This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
So welcome Jeff Allen to the Assembly Food Hall stage. Yes, two old cats sitting around talking about their grandkids. That's entertainment.
I just want you to know I went to the bathroom and the lid was up, so I did you all a favor and I put the lid down. I just want you to know.
Happy wife, happy life.
Talk about being trained.
Yeah. You're headed back to the Grand Ole Opry.
I am. They dropped the charges. Let me come back. So, yeah, it's been a while, so that'll be nice.
Well, it's so good to see you. You'll be there on Saturday night, and among others. And we'll hear from them just a little bit. Don Schlitz, who is in the Country Music Hall of Fame and one of the newer members of the Opry, and John Connolly will be in that Saturday night lineup along with you. What's the Opry, the Opry House experience like as a comedian versus the other dates that you play?
Holy cow. Well, first of all, I don't draw 5,000 people or 4,000 people, whatever it is.
4,400 doesn't sell out. So.
Yeah, but it's just the history of it. You know, standing on that circle, you know where that came from. And I remember the first time I did the Ryman, I walked off. My wife was in tears. She said, "I never thought I'd see you on a stage like this." And I said, "Me?" I said, "Elvis played this place." Yeah. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
And Elvis's recollection, Charlie, was?
Well, Ernest Tubb was the only person who was nice to him. Yeah, it was not the best debut.
Well, you were here last. We were celebrating a lot of things, including a book. Are we there yet?
Yes.
And now your tour is The Human Condition. We're still not there yet.
Still not there yet. And then next year, I told you we're starting my first final farewell tour. So, because I'm never going to get there. So.
Well, catch me up on Zany's and what's happening both Sunday and Monday and the group that you're working with.
About 5 or 6 years ago, my manager called me. He says, "You're going to want to talk to this guy." So I said, "I am." He goes, "You are." So anyway, what I thought would be a 10 or 15-minute conversation turned into about an hour and a half. And he runs the Anti-Predator Project down in Florida. And what he does is he rescues children. That day, literally the day before, he brought home the remains of a 14-year-old girl from Mexico that had gotten trafficked. It was really heart-wrenching, and so I've been working with him on trying to raise money on the road for him. And then we decided this year we'd do our first Stand Up to Human Trafficking comedy show at Zany's, 4 o'clock. We'll get you home before the babysitter hits the liquor cabinet. She'll be pouring her first Jack and Coke. You'll walk in. "I thought you were at a comedy show." Jeff Allen. His people don't drive at night. So it's a 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Get out of the heat, come into the air, and know that every dollar you put is going to rescue children out of trafficking.
And you spend a lot of time at Zany's these days, right?
I do. Monday nights, I love going down there for their new material. I get to read out of a notebook, so it really helps me because my memory is shot. I found out we did a bunch of blood tests, my wife and I. It turns out I got a gene that makes me a higher risk for Alzheimer's. And they tell me, doesn't mean you're going to get it. It just means you're at a higher risk. I said, okay. And they said, sugar feeds it. So I'm eating a cookie one day, and Tammy walks in. My wife has lost her filter. So anyway, I'm eating a cookie. She goes, "Oh, that's okay. You don't need to remember your grandchildren's names." I go, "Oh, my God." So now I got to hide cookies. Like I used to hide drugs and alcohol. I stash them in my office. I got Oreos down there.
Where do you go rehab for that?
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. It's so cruel.
Well, Jeff Allen is here, and again, he's at the Opry on Saturday night. That event that he referenced is at Zany's on Sunday afternoon. Tell us about the golf tournament that follows
on Monday, West Haven, 9 a.m. shotgun start. All the money goes for the Anti-Predator Project. You can look it up online. West Haven, 9 o'clock. If you're a golfer, come on out. We'll pair you up with hopefully a funny guy. I think we have 3 or 4 Titans that are going to play with us.
Great.
I don't know which ones because nobody tells me anything. I was telling you off air, my wife started laying into me because you got this all messed up, everything. I said, no, you don't get to come in a week before the event and start criticizing what we've done for 6 months. The whole world is run by women, and this whole thing has been put together by men. So that should tell you we are scrambling to get people out.
We're looking forward to year 2 already, right?
It'll
be much smoother.
We've already written off this year, so yeah.
Well, Toby Keith, he did that tournament for years and years, and they continued it after his passing. And recently, Sammy Hagar and his wife Tricia co-hosted the post-tournament event. And for the OK Kids Corral, the medical program that he's involved with in Oklahoma, $1.4 million. Because, these things can grow into extraordinary.
Well, they can, and we're hoping we can get,
You said, though, that the good news was they told you if you break even the first year, you're ahead of the curve.
Yeah, Trent, who is the CEO of the Anti-Predator Project, he said that he just was at a law enforcement event out in Northern California, and he said the first year they lost $5,000. 5 years later, they just raised $500,000. So that's our carrot. We go, okay, that's our goal.
Kind of like opening a restaurant. You know, get through the first one, and then if we're still going, we're doing well.
Well, that's it, you know. And then we want to raise money for the Williamson County Sheriff's Department, and they won't even pick up the phone. Trent goes, I'm calling, looking for a point of contact, and they're going, no, we're trying to raise money for you.
That was like me trying to buy Taylor Swift tickets. I couldn't even get verified to give my money to her. It's like, no, we don't even need your money, sir. We don't want yours. We got enough money.
I took my 12-year-old niece to see Taylor 14 years ago, whatever it was, and my ears have not recovered. Remember the Beatles when they would come out with those high-pitched screams and stuff? Yeah, that was the whole concert for me.
You mentioned Mondays at Zany's. It's such a fun night for new material. I'm curious, though, how many times are you surprised by a reaction? I mean, are there times where it's like, man, this is like the funniest thing I've got, and it doesn't get much, or the opposite, it's like, I'm going to throw this out there, but I don't think anybody's going to laugh, and it's the best bit of the whole night. Does that happen?
I can tell you, every time I like something, it never gets a laugh. I mean, honestly. And I'll tell you, one of the most popular routines I have on the internet is the slide at the playgrounds. You know, my grandson had to pull himself. I mean, it's not even a slide. I mean, they're plastic. They're 6 feet high now. And he's wee papa, wee papa. People come to me all the time and go, wee papa, wee papa. He's 6 inches down. I go, that's a scoop. That's not a slide. We had a slide, 6 stories high, solid steel. July would hit a temperature of maybe 285.
Oh, yes. Burn yourself on the way.
You had to do 50 miles an hour. You lose 2 layers of skin you sat on that thing. And that one, when I wrote it down, I made a note about the slide. I thought, and I did it a couple times, and then I threw it on a dry bar special, and it went through the roof. It's amazing. One guy said he named his RV Wee Papa.
How was your Fisher Center gig? Which, in addition to your book, the last time you were here,
that was great. We had a half a house, which is $850.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I had friends that came out and go, "Man, you packed it out." I go, "Did you turn around?" So
that's incredible.
But Stephen Bargatze opened for me, and Patty Heaton. It was very funny. Patricia is good friends with Chaz, the curator over there. So she said, "Can I come up?" And so anyway, she goes, "Oh, I'm so looking forward to seeing Nate Bargatze." She had flowers, and somebody walks out and whispers in her ear. She goes, "Stephen, who's that?" and then she says, "At least we got Tim Allen." And then somebody walks out, whispers in her ear. She goes, "Jeff Allen. I thought we lost him during COVID." So We had a great night. We had a great night there.
And for those of you who don't know, that Stephen is Nate's dad, and he's a musician, right?
Yeah, he'll be there Sunday afternoon.
Oh, okay, wonderful.
Yeah, we got him out of bed. He said it's right after his nap time, so he'll be there.
4 o'clock start at Zany's.
And Carolyn Xavier, my co-host for my podcast. I have a podcast called "Who Gave Jeff Allen a Podcast?" Because that seemed to be the predominant when we asked for people who gave this guy. Because we did research, there's just not enough podcasts in the world today. But Carolyn is the recovering Californian. She moved here from California, and she does Instagram videos. They're very funny, very funny. She's a really. So we're co-hosting together, and got some friends coming in to do some comedy, and then we're going to raise some money for the Anti-Predator Project. So,
From WSM Radio, this is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
And Jeff Allen on the Assembly Food Hall stage in Mr. A. Cup's living room. That's where we do the show. I mean, what a spot to have a studio. It is the best in the world as it relates to country music. And as we look out on the Grand Ole Opry Plaza, the entrance to the Opry House is our view from his home from 1984 to 92.
You have to tell your story and share your memories of being in New York for the first time in a few decades, and how much the lack of things changing.
well, I just want to say, no wonder this explains a lot. This is A. Cup's living room.
Yes.
That's why Charlie's not wearing pants in the bathroom.
Well, Jeannie Seeley.
I didn't want to say anything.
Jeannie Seeley was our first ever in-studio guest. Great Grand Ole Opry star, has the longest tenure as far as successful. 5,000.
Almost 5,400.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shows that she's. And she was here, and Kelly asked her, she said, "So where was the bedroom?" And she goes, "Kelly, I was never in Mr. A. Cup's bedroom."
That's true. So yeah, I was just in New York to answer your question. I left New York in 1988, and I had not been back to work this particular club in Long Island. And I said when I got on stage, when I left 40 years ago, the GWB, the George Washington Bridge, was under construction, and it's still under construction. So it's kind of metaphor for my life.
Yes.
My whole life has been under construction for 69 years.
Hence the tour name, The Human Condition. We're still not there yet.
Still not there. Yeah.
So you've traveled so much of the world. Is funny everywhere, or are certain things funnier in the South than they are in New England?
It's interesting you say that, because Nate Bargatze, the hottest comedian in
Yep.
the world, who lives here in Nashville, just sold out, 10 shows in Europe. So
Yeah, I guess so, right?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been over there. I've Canada, and and I'm in no hurry to go back.
I would be remiss, because there's always somebody watching for the first time and being introduced to our artist guests for the first time. Share your story of sobriety, if you would, here, just in a couple of minutes we have.
Oh, I was 30 years old and got married, and about a year into that, I had some incidences that happened. I wrote about them in the book. Pretty serious stuff. I got handcuffed one night and thrown in a cruiser, and I was doing cocaine in front of the club that I just worked, and the off-duty cop came out to smoke a cigarette, who was working security. Goes, "What's he doing in there?" Well, he was doing cocaine, and the cop goes, "Oh, let him go. He's one of the comedians," as if that's a get-out-of-jail-free card. And it turns out it was. They uncuffed me and told me how lucky I was. I was looking at 3 to 5, and I had a 6-month-old at home, and you'd think that would be enough. But a week or two later, I was driving the wrong way on the interstate, drunk. I went up the ramp the wrong way, into traffic. So, and these things happen, and then the last thing was I spanked my 6-month-old in the crib, and Tammy took him away from me and looked at me and says, "Who does this?" And anyway, the next day I went into Alcoholics Anonymous, and they said, "Pray." I said, "To what?" I didn't believe in God. And that started me on a 7 or 8 year journey, just trying to figure out if God existed, what did that look like? And then I came to my faith, to Jesus Christ, about 8 years into that look, and all I did was got on my knees and said, "If you're not who you claim to be, then I'm dead. I have nowhere else to go." And that was 20 whatever years ago. Tammy and I moved here to start a new beginning, and it's been She has now completely lost her filter. She just doesn't care what she says to me.
How many years you been married?
39 years this month, July.
So
is there a filter year?
Yeah, 35.
I don't know. I don't know.
Because I've been married 20, and the filter's loosening for sure.
Yeah, we went on vacation to Arizona a few weeks ago in June because 114 degrees. She said, "Wow, if I play my cards right, maybe you can get me to South Dakota in January." So we're standing in line in a restaurant, and she falls. Boom. And I look over, the glue on her shoe heel melted, and she fell off.
Oh, no.
So, I only told you that because people ask what makes me laugh. That was one of them right there. And she threw her shoe at me, and she said, "I'm leaving. I'm not staying here another day." So we went to Northern California.
Wow. JeffAllenComedy.com. You can follow there. And then the Human Condition Tour, all the dates are up. The Human Condition, we're still not there yet. And the Grand Ole Opry on Saturday night. And then on Sunday at 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock, Zanies. Yeah, please. It's a great cause, and it'll be a fun night.
It's the Anti-Predator Project. And it's standing up against trafficking, human trafficking.
Well, they rescue kids. They also train law enforcement, especially small-town law enforcement, because that's what's getting targeted, is because the kids aren't street smart.
And then the golf tournament on Monday starts.
Monday, West Haven Golf Club. Come on out. You can go online. Just Google Jeff Allen Stand Up to Human Trafficking, and it'll send you to the right place. Link and get your foursomes out, and we'll put you with a nice, funny comic. And again, raising money for a good cause. And Chick-fil-A will be there in the morning, so that's just worth the trip.
Man,
Raising
right
Cane's at night, I think you said.
Raising Cane is at the lunch. And,
Well, that's why we had to do the comedy on Sunday and the golf on Monday. Can't have the Chick-fil-A on Sunday.
No,
See, you gotta have the Chick-fil-A on the
But
Monday.
Zanies has chicken tenders.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Okay.
Man, never enough time. Always enjoy your visits, Jeff.
Thanks,
For the
man.
next time, and we'll see you on the stage of the Opry.
From WSM Radio, this is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
So it became dark and overcast, and then it poured rain here from the Acuff House studio, Simply Superior studio in the Opry Plaza. And Deborah Allen walked in, and it stopped raining, and the sun came out. Among the magic power she possesses.
Thank you so much. Well, hey, y'all brightened my day when I walked in, too. You had that effect also.
It's always good to see you and have you here, and especially sharing
Thank
new
you.
music this morning, which we'll do here in just a little
yeah.
while. But
Thank you.
We are looking forward to you back on the Grand Ole Opry stage.
I am so excited about it. It's going to be August the 21st. That's a Thursday night. And it's really just always special to be at the Grand Ole Opry, because I was mentioning a minute ago, Grandpa Jones was the first one to introduce me on there.
Oh, what a great memory.
I know.
Did he get your name right?
Well, you know what? He did. It was a rare occasion. And then Porter introduced me, and then Bill Anderson and Jeannie Seeley, and then Bill Cody. And so I've just been introduced by some of the greats here in this business. And but this is going to be a very special night for me, too. Just being on the Opry, standing in that circle, singing again. But also my mother's going to be in the audience. And my mother is the same age as the Grand Ole Opry.
When is your mother's birthday?
Her birthday is August 23rd.
Okay.
I actually have a show at the Franklin Theater that night, and we're honoring her. But I'll also be honoring her from the stage. Gina was so sweet to invite me to have me out Thursday night to celebrate Mother's 100th year.
And she has a name that you don't name baby girls anymore. I don't know why, because I love it. It's Rosetta.
Yeah, Rosetta. I said, Mother, why couldn't you have named me something like Rosetta? She goes, well, actually, okay, I'm not going to get into the long story, but actually when she had me, a rainbow went across me and my name appeared in the rainbow, and that was God speaking to Mother, and she said, thank you, God. That's what I'm going to name her. I'm going to name her Deborah. So,
I never knew that story.
It's really true. And she had prayed for her voice. She kind of has a voice that goes like that.
Yeah.
And now she has to get Botox injections because they know how to deal with that. But back then they didn't. And so she said, I always pray for my babies to be healthy babies. But when I was carrying you, Mother knew her voice was getting weak. And I said, oh, and please let this baby have a strong voice. Oh my gosh! So and then I remember this part. When I was 4, we were driving down the road one day, and I scooch over to her in the car because we didn't have seatbelts back then, and I said, "Can you keep a secret?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "I would like to be a singer or an actress or an entertainer. Do you think I can?" And she said, my heart just started pounding because I knew that was an affirmation of that revelation that I had in that hospital. And she said, "You sure can. You can do anything you want to. And Mother's going to help you." She's been my best friend really before I was even born. She was praying for me.
How about that? What a wonderful, sweet story to share.
Thank you.
So you have to, I've had you do this through the years. You told this beautiful story about when you were a little bit older.
Yeah.
Standing in the car seat. You were still small enough. You were standing and you were singing.
Yeah.
And what did she say about your arm?
Oh, that story.
I love that story.
She did. So she already knew that I loved to sing and everything, and she'd be driving along with her hands on the steering wheel, and she looks over at me kind of out of the corner of her eyes and listening to me sing, and she goes, "Sugar, when you come to a part that you really feel, kind of do your arm like this." And she kind of held it out there like that.
I love that.
Well, hey, look, she was there for my Rock Me video. She and my daddy, they were there, and I was walking across a cotton field in Arkansas, and I had this hat box. I had a print dress on and this hat box, and I was just walking across there, and I hear my mother's voice go, "Deborah, swing it around." Great idea. So when you see me swing my arm around, that's her giving me that direction. It just popped in her. She's a designer,
I wondered what she did.
Yeah, she's a designer. She and my dad.
And your father, what did he do?
He was an automobile upholstery man, and together they made a great team. They did custom upholstery in Memphis, Tennessee. Best automobile beauty shop in the Mid-South. And you know who George Klein is, of course.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yes, George is an icon in radio, and he was one of Elvis's best friends. And he told Elvis, he said, "E, now I'm telling you, need to get over there to Leon Thurman's automobile upholstery shop and let them upholster this first bus." And so the Memphis Mafia brought it over there. And my daddy, he was okay with it at first, but they just kept. He goes, "I can't get anything done. Y'all just keep hanging around. You're all causing a big ruckus. I'm just going to take that bus home." So he did. So my sister Judy and I camped out in it. And later on, I wrote a song, which is actually a song that's included on one of the new releases on Star Vista Music. But anyway, I wrote a song. I was so inspired when I went in Graceland. I kept talking to Raymond about it on the way home, and I said, "Raymond, it was just amazing." And I go, "Oh my gosh, Amazing Graceland, get me home." But so I went in, and it was just amazing. But they upholstered Elvis's bus in royal blue, trimmed in gold. And in my show, when I sing Amazing Graceland, that's why I brought it up, I'll say, "Yes, I camped out in Elvis's bus when I was 3 years old." He wasn't there, but it still counts.
Absolutely, it does.
I slept in
Deborah
his
Allen
bed.
is here. So when you left Memphis and came to Nashville, Joe Melson took note of your talent and had you on some Roy Orbison stuff. Is that right? And then you came and auditioned at Opryland?
It happened that way. I used to work for a short while at remember when the IHOP down on Music Row used to be where everybody would go?
Absolutely.
Well, I didn't even
miss
know.
it.
I do too. Well, all kind of producers, songwriters, recording artists, just everybody, musicians, and I even met a professional whistler there one time. But I waited on tables there for a while, and I really wasn't very good at it. But after I decided that wasn't going to be what I was going to do, I still ate there all the time because I knew everybody there, and I loved them, and I could go there by myself and feel right at home. So I was sitting there eating one day, and I looked across that room, and I saw this black-headed guy with big black sunglasses on, and this guy with salt and pepper hair, and I went, those guys have to be in the music business. So I just kind of straighten up my little print dress, and I walk over there, and they're sitting in a booth. So I stand at the edge of their booth, and I say, "Excuse me, but are are y'all in the insurance business? They look at me like I'm crazy. And they go, no, darling, we're in the music business. I slide in that booth. I said, that's what I was thinking. Listen, I'm a singer trying to get started. And I figured they were going to say, listen, darling, our pancakes are getting cold. But no, they were so sweet to me. And that's part of what I love about Nashville. Nashville has a heart, and they were so sweet to me. So about 2 weeks later, I was walking down from where I lived on Music Row to the AFTRA. And I walked in and I said, hey, I've got a phone and now I want to give you my new phone number. And they go, we are so glad to see you. Guess who's been looking for you? And I go, who? And they said, oh, by the way, that was Roy Orbison and Joe Melson that day. Yeah. And they said, Joe Melson has been calling looking for you. And I said, really? They said, yeah, he wants you to sing on a couple of Roy Orbison tracks, which I did.
Wow.
It paid. Got $87.50 per song, and it came in really handy.
So, you were connected to Tennessee Ernie Ford during the Opryland USA days, right?
I was, yes. And after all that happened, then I came out and I auditioned at Opryland, and it was a great experience. I was on the Showboat show, not the Showboat,
right?
But remember, they had a stage. I was on that, and that at the end of that year, they had an audition for the Tennessee Ernie State Department tour, and it was to go to Russia. Oh my gosh, what a trip that was.
Well, a long way from Memphis, Tennessee to Moscow.
It was. It was incredible. And you know what? That's way back when it was really the Soviet Union, and it was just amazing. We went to 5 different cities. We shot a little special from over there, but we were in Yerevan, Baku, Tbilisi, Leningrad, and Moscow.
And Leningrad is now St. Petersburg.
St. Petersburg,
again. It was, and then Leningrad and then back.
Yeah, and you know what? They told us to bring our own toilet paper because theirs was kind of rough, so I packed me some toilet paper. And then I had never been anywhere, out of the country, so I went to Casual Corners and I charged $1,000 worth of clothes because I wanted to look good overseas. Well, guess what happened? My suitcase, someone took it. So I had to wear the same green jeans, the same little sweater. So what I would do, I would wear green jeans and a sweater, or green jeans and a print shirt, or green jeans and a sweater with a print shirt under it. That was my whole...
So you were Mrs. Green Jeans.
I was Mrs.
If you
Green
know the Captain
Jeans.
Kangaroo character.
Yeah, me and the Captain, we go way back.
All right. Hurt me bad in a real good way. Set this up for us.
Okay, now listen. I am just, this song has been a big blessing to my life because, Tony Brown called me up one day. Tony originally signed me to RCA Records.
Congrats to him for going into the Hall of Fame.
Yes, I love Tony Brown. And Joe was in on it too, the signing. But Tony was the first one to hear, Baby I Lied and all that. So, but after I was no longer on RCA, I still continued my writing and still continued performing and being on other record labels. But he called me up one day and he goes, hey, I just heard a song of yours. I really like it. You ought to be doing this. And I said, well, I'm just kind of collecting songs right now. And he goes, it was Hurt Me Bad in a real good way. And he goes, well, what would you think about Patty Loveless recording that song? I said, are you kidding me? I love Patty. She's one of my favorite artists. He goes, great, because she also wants you to sing on it with her. So her version is amazing. She has a great video on it, and she invited me to sing on it. So even though I had recorded the song, I never had the inclination to put it out because I was like, that's Patty's record, and I got to sing on it. Why would I put mine out? But so,
well, you helped put her in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just so proud of that moment in my life. I love Patty, and I love that. And I'll tell you another little magic moment. When Rock Me came out, I was at SeaWorld, and they have different stages at SeaWorld, and I was at this little trailer. And off in the distance, before I went on stage, I could hear Patty singing Hurt Me Bad in a real good way.
Oh, wow.
And I was getting ready to go on and sing Rock Me, and I was going, oh, my God, thank you, God. I'm never going to forget this moment. It's so special.
And you and Ray Van Hoy, right?
Yeah, we wrote that. We sure did.
Mm-hmm.
Coffee, Country, and Cody is on WSM.
Our longtime friend and extraordinarily talented singer-songwriter Deborah Allen is on the Assembly Food Hall stage this morning and getting caught up on a lot of things that are going on in your career, which is so exciting. Tell us about Star Vista, tell us about Capitol and everything there.
Yeah, I am just so excited. Well, with the Star Vista music release, it's actually 5 albums, and they have remastered and revived those so beautifully. And to entice people even more, we have, the new single with Patty Loveless, The Cut, Hurt Me Bad in a real good way. And then we have other bonus tracks on each one of those albums. So they breathe new life into it and given new music. Because I have a ton of songs,
Yeah.
I could never do them all.
Who was your first number one?
My first number one was Janie Fricky, Don't Worry About Me, Baby.
Was it really?
Yeah. And she had another number one, too. She had her, Let's Stop Talking About It. And a bunch of great
John
opera.
Conley?
John Conley. I'm only in it for the love.
He still does that on the Opry.
I love that, yeah.
Yeah.
I love John and Patty.
And
And
you
so
wrote
cool.
for Tanya, and you wrote for
Yeah,
the Whites.
she had a number one, Tanya did. Yeah, the Whites, I love them so much, yes.
It's interesting, Deborah. You have a great stage presence, obviously, and you have a beautiful voice.
Thank you.
Do you find that when you do a certain thing really well, people forget you do other things really well? And like some people are actually surprised. I'm like, I didn't realize she was such a great songwriter. I knew she could sing. I didn't know she wrote all these things.
It is
too.
really funny. Sometimes when I do my show, or even lately when I've been talking about Hurt Me Bad, they'll go, I didn't know you wrote that. And I'll go, well, okay. That's fine. Yeah, it is kind of like that. But I try to stay busy, doing different things. I do things I didn't even know that I did, like with the Christmas book that I wrote, The Loneliest Christmas Tree. Ray Stevens has that in his shop.
The gift shop, at Cabaret.
Sure does.
And 45th anniversary, which is hard for me to believe, 45 years since the Capitol album you were saying.
I know. Ironically, I'm so excited about the Star Vista new relationship. Such a wonderful team there. It's so exciting for me. But ironically, this friend of mine, Tim Smith, who worked at Sony Legacy, he had just they had done the same thing, remastered and put some things out on there, the Telepathy album, and then To Let Me Be the First album. But he said, "Hey." He goes, what's going on with that Capitol album? I said, I have no idea. He goes, I'm going to check into that for you. And he did. And now all of a sudden, they are putting that out. And we're celebrating my 45th year anniversary of the Trouble in Paradise album, which was my very first album.
On Capitol.
And, before that, I'd done those Jim Reeves duets. And I really had a warm spot in my heart for RCA, even back then, because of that. But they wanted to do a singles deal, and Capitol offered me an album deal. And because I was a songwriter, I thought, well, I think I'll be taken more seriously as a songwriter if I put out a collection of songs. So I went that way, but I wound up on RCA anyway.
The exact science of Music Row and the industry.
Bill has a wonderful story about a DJ in Gunnersville, Alabama, playing one of the Jim Reeves, Deborah Allen duets that he'll share with you here.
As we close, back in the day,
Okay.
when Drake Chenault did automation for a lot of country radio stations, Bob Kingsley was the voice.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then they would also do programming and schedule music for you.
Oh, okay.
And it would print out, but it had a limit to the number of characters that it could print.
Yeah, only so much space on the cart, if you will.
Yeah.
Right.
So our friend Radford C. Carter, Gunnersville, Alabama, is introducing Jim Reeves and Jim Allen. Because to get the characters in, they cut your first name off. It just said Jim Reeves / Allen.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Well, you know what was really on there, why it probably didn't fit, is because Joe Galante, since I really hadn't had anything out but one mysterious little single that nobody's ever heard called Do You Copy, which was a trucker song. And I actually cut it live direct to disc here in Nashville. But anyway, the reason why my name didn't fit is because Joe put me down as the mystery girl singer.
Oh.
And they ran a contest, and nobody could guess because I really hadn't done anything at that point.
So you truly were a mystery.
I was a mystery.
Opry Stage, she's going to be there on the 21st, August 21st. August, again, 21st for Deborah
Yes.
Allen at the Opry, and then celebrating her mom, Rosetta's 100th birthday. Same age
Yes.
as WSM and the Grand Ole Opry. That'll be at the Franklin Theater on August 23rd. Love you dearly.
Thank you. I love y'all dearly too. And hey, I hope you all your listeners will come out to the Franklin Theater and celebrate with us, because I really want to pack it out, because I want my mother to know just how much she is loved by so many people. All of my friends are her friends, and she loves music, so we'll have a great time.
DeborahAllen.com. And her Deborah is Deborah, like the Bible, Deborah.
That's right.
Because Mama said so.
That's right. Yes.